again, death is a part of life, and
it's going to happen before very long, I suppose, to me. And I feel like I have had something unusual here that I don't know why, but I don't think we should be afraid of death, and I think more or less I was earlier, when I was a child. That was kind of a horrible thing, and I remember when so many of the funerals, people were just carrying on. Not that I remember too many funerals individually, I don't. But, for instance, well, anyway, I ended up with, was with some dying people in Hope Hospice, the local. I don't know why, but I was reading about it, and I knew when they started the hospice program here, I knew about it and wasn't doing anything particularly for it. I gave some money here and there, when they were having something to assemble money, but I never got involved as much as after I was married the second time in heroin I was in my 80s, and my husband was, he was past 90 when we married, and I said, well, I think I'll go for that hospice training, and he said, well, if you do, I will too. And he said, I always think a man needs to do things with his, some of the same things with his wife. And so we actually did that, and
did you saw obviously the benefit your that service gave to the family and to the individual. Talk about that a little bit.
I had a different attitude though because of my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law was if I guess I would put it in a very simple way, say she was a strange person in a way, in comparison with all the people I'd ever known. But she had a spiritual side just recently.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about Harmony Corps, and make sure I got my date here. I'm trying to turn what I'm doing with you into a business.
Yes, I know.
And I'm doing my best, considering that I am one of the 3 least organized people ever born. And I was looking at my notes the other day, and I thought, all I need to do is look at these notes to know what kind of bad brain I've got. Because, okay.
Don't put yourself down.
Oh, it's going to be fine. And again, the people that look at this in 50 years won't even think about the guy that's sitting on this side of the camera, what kind of nut he was, or anything of that sort. So, either way, we're going to talk about the Harmony Corps.
All right, this is a mixed chorus. In essence, a singing society.
When did you join?
I guess we would say, but in German, we like to just stick with the German name for it. Is Gemischter Chor. It's G-E-M-I-S-C-H there. Gemischter, T-E-R. And another word, Chor, C-H-O-R. Harmony, which is spelled just like in English except I-E at the end.
Gemischter
and that's
Harmonie.
established by Constitution. And this is the Germans settled these, established the singing societies wherever a good handful of them landed. In other words, it's bringing part of their homeland with them. And
It's a Verbindung.
Exactly. In German, here in this part of the state, particularly, that is the whole central area here, I think, probably had the most. But at present, we have choruses in Dallas still, in Houston, in Austin, and San Antonio. And since I joined, in 1977 was when I first joined, my father was a member, as long as I could remember, of the Austin Sängerrunde in Austin. Now, actually, the first letter of when the S is the first letter, it sounds more like an English Z. Sängerrunde. When it's at the end of a word like glass, it sounds like glass. Or the end of a syllable, it'll have the sound that we have with in English. But this is perfectly in German. It would have to be spelled with an umlaut, but generally the Sängerrunde is spelled with S-A-E-N-G-E-R. That's Sänger, which means singers, men singers. And Sängerrunde, around a singer, so another R, U-N-D-E. I have a little book that's the history of it, if you're ever interested in listening. It's still an ongoing organization, I'm glad to say, and it took over place that ties in with my family history. The Sängerrunde in Austin now has for many years owned a place called Schultz Garten. Or sometimes it might be written with a D for garden. And that's a very interesting subject to me because my mother grew up on the same block with it. And so I'm sure she had untold memories there. And my her father was a stepson of Mr. Schultz, who bought that property according to his granddaughter. And I have all she wrote and gave to the Austin History Center. I have a copy of it.
When you were participating in the Sängerrunde, Gemischter Chor?
No, this is just kind of giving a background.
Oh, okay.
Not getting into Gemischter Chor.
Okay.
Here, In other words, I had that in my background.
Okay, and so we're talking about the Austin years.
Yes. So with the Austin, so it was a yearly, at least once a year, I would be at one time or another hearing my dad in concert with all these men up there on the stage. The information that I've been reading that was given to the History Center by